Today, we're diving deep into something that, well, it's fascinated people forever, hasn't it? What lies beyond the veil. Those little hints, those glimpses into spiritual dimensions, maybe what comes after this life. It's often really personal stuff.
It's a deeply personal question.
So we've got a great mix today. We're looking at ancient scriptures, insights from mystics, even modern near-death experience to help you grasp what's truly important across all these different viewpoints. And I have to kick off with this bit from one source. It just grabs you.
Yeah, okay.
My wife told me, I can make your life heaven or hell. You choose. I can tell you heaven is good.
Huh. That's direct.
Isn't it? It makes you think straight away that maybe heaven or hell isn't just someplace later, but something we're, creating right here.
Yeah, it really does. And that ties perfectly into what a lot of these sources suggest. Despite our natural curiosity about what's next,
Yeah.
the real focus should maybe be on the here and now. Specifically, how we actually treat other people. That seems to be a core message.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit, because how do glimpses of what's after help us understand the here and now? That seems almost backward, doesn't it?
Well, think about that analogy in the source, like describing different bits of an elephant or maybe a platypus.
Right.
You get these glimpses, these peeks behind the veil. Maybe you feel the trunk or see a webbed foot, but you don't get the whole creature all at once.
So they're insights, not the full map.
Exactly. And the source points out the apostles, the early church, they often avoided the really esoteric stuff. They focused on what Jesus called true religion.
Which was?
Worshiping in spirit and truth. And this truth, this spirit, it's tied directly to our actions.
Oh, so?
Remember the Jewish prophets? They taught that songs of praise are irritating noise to God if we don't treat others right.
Oof. Strong words.
It's a direct link. True worship isn't just belief, it's how you behave. How you treat your neighbor, basically. That's the measure. You choose heaven or hell for others by your actions.
That really shifts the perspective on worship. But then, what about wisdom? The source says wisdom isn't just knowledge, it's from experience. So you can't just, read your way to enlightenment.
That's the idea. Spiritual growth isn't purely intellectual, it's something you live. Take the Kundalini experience, for instance.
Often linked with Eastern mysticism, right?
Yes, but our sources show parallels even within Christian spiritual awakening. It's this idea of a powerful energy inside us that, when activated, leads to big changes. Physical, emotional, psychological.
There's stages.
Sometimes described that way: awakening, seeking, crisis, integration, transformation, transcendence. Christians might talk more about continual growth, not distinct stages like that, but the core idea is similar. Real understanding comes through, living it, transformation, not just knowing facts.
Okay, so these glimpses really guide how we live now. That makes sense. Let's shift then to some of the older views. How did ancient scriptures and traditions handle this beyond?
Well, Jesus himself made that promise, didn't he? In my Father's house are many dwelling places.
I go to prepare a place for you. John 14. Yeah, very comforting for many people.
It is. But it's interesting, early Judaism didn't really have a set doctrine on the afterlife. It was mostly ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Really?
Yeah, and groups like the Sadducees in Jesus' time, they didn't believe in angels or life after death at all.
So what did they think happened?
The main idea was Sheol, an underworld.
Like the Greek Hades.
Very similar. A shadowy, quiet place, a realm of separation from God where pretty much everyone went, regardless of how they lived. Not exactly hopeful.
But didn't King David have some hope? I remember Psalm 16, you will not abandon my soul to Sheol.
Right. In your presence is fullness of joy.
Yeah.
Even back then, there was this inkling of something more. And the source notes, David wasn't exactly a saint.
Huh. Probably worse than most of us, yeah.
Yet he had that hope. Then Jesus' story changes things dramatically. His descent into hell after the crucifixion.
Mentioned in 1 Peter and Ephesians.
Exactly. It's seen as him conquering death, breaking that power separation. It shifts the focus from guilt keeping people captive to God's forgiveness bringing eternal life, unearned forgiveness.
The fundamental shift.
And Jesus also taught that in heaven, things are different. No male or female, no marriage in the earthly sense. Social distinctions, gender, race, status, they just dissolve. Everyone's equal in Christ.
Yep.
Earthly structures like marriage, they won't be the same because the relationships themselves are transformed.
Fascinating. Okay, then there's the Apostle Paul. He talks about knowing someone who went to the third heaven.
Corinthians, yeah.
But he's really reluctant to elaborate. Why? The source mentions it might have been about his authority.
That's one interpretation. The third heaven likely meant the highest spiritual realm, God's direct presence. Maybe Paul felt it was too profound, too inexpressible. Or, as the source suggests, maybe recounting it helped validate his unique standing as an apostle, showing he had direct revelation. It's mysterious.
And Paul also taught that at death, we're instantly changed into incorruptible bodies.
Yes, like spirit bodies. A sudden transformation, no waiting around.
So how does this compare to modern Judaism's view?
Well, current Judaism often talks about an open door policy for heaven.
Meaning?
The righteous of any people and any faith have a place. It really emphasizes actions over specific beliefs. What you do determines your fate.
And hell.
Still no real concept of hell as a place of eternal punishment. Maybe, as the source ponders, hell is more like a state you choose being cut off from God. Separation, perhaps self-imposed.
Less a place, more a state of being. Interesting. Okay, let's move to the Christian mystics. They offer some really vivid ideas. Edgar Cayce, for instance.
Ah, yes.
He believed heaven isn't somewhere you go, but a state we attain.
Through spiritual growth, right.
Yeah.
Aligning your conscience, your ideals, your hopes with your purpose.
And he said beautifully, you get to heaven on the arms of people you have helped.
Which lines up perfectly with the Christian idea that good deeds, the fruits, show you're a true disciple.
Cayce also thought we continue after death and can even communicate back. And I just love this humorous line from the source.
Go on.
If there's hope for me, there will be a level in heaven for those with training wheels who are still seeking a quiet mind.
I think many of us can relate to needing those training wheels.
Definitely.
And that connects to the tradition of 7 heavens you find in mystical writing.
Right, the source detailed those stages.
Yeah, the first 3 are kind of linked to our earthly plane, like steps away from here. Then you get to the golden city, rest from struggle. After that, the city of God, like a storehouse of good things.
And the final stage.
The vast plain of the infinite God, ultimate contentment, ultimate union. And other mystics consistently echo this heaven's beauty, the joy. It's all just, beyond words. God's direct presence, unending bliss, spiritual perfection, the ultimate homecoming.
Which leads us perfectly into near-death experiences, NDEs. These modern accounts are just incredible.
They really are.
So personalized,
Yeah.
yet with these common threads running through them. The source really stresses that genuine NDEs clarify things. They don't mislead. They lead to positive changes. Their fruits are godly.
And they pose a real challenge to purely scientific explanations.
Most of it.
Because they often happen during clinical death. Heart stopped, no measurable brain activity. How do you have a coherent, vivid experience then? Science struggles to explain that.
And crucially, they aren't just wish fulfillment.
No, often the opposite. People experience things that contradict their prior beliefs, shaking them up, but ultimately leading them onto a more wholesome path.
Though the source does caution about discernment.
Yes, absolutely. There have been some fabricated accounts, maybe pushing an agenda, so discernment is key. But true NDEs consistently speak about God's love for everyone. It's about inclusion, not hate or exclusion.
And the consistency is staggering, isn't it?
Yeah.
Regardless of background, atheist, believer, skeptic.
Exactly. You hear the same core elements again and again.
Like leaving the body, seeing the room from above.
Yes, and observing things they couldn't possibly see physically. Then, often a sense of travel, moving towards a light or to another realm.
A realm described as
Overwhelming love, peace, often meeting deceased relatives, friends, sometimes divine beings, maybe Jesus or God, depending on their framework.
and the descriptions of the place itself.
Usually beyond words. Intense beauty, maybe incredible music, landscapes. It often supports existing beliefs, but sometimes challenges them too. The universality is just profound. And then there's the life review.
Ah, yes. Tell us about that.
It's usually experienced without any sense of judgment. You see your life flash before you, but crucially, you understand the impact of your actions and words on others, both the good and the bad.
So it's not about getting a grade. Heaven or hell.
Not typically, no. It's not presented as an end-of-life judgment. It's more about understanding, about seeing the connections, the ripple effects, a chance for profound learning.
And people often come back with a renewed sense of purpose.
Very often. They might feel they have a mission to complete, or they're reminded of their path. Some sources even mention seeing things like a hall of records for each soul, or incredible environments made just for them.
And usually it's positive, not scary.
Overwhelmingly positive. Negative or frightening imagery is actually quite rare in most NDE accounts.
So if you had to summarize what we can learn from NDEs.
Well, the big takeaway seems to be life does continue after physical death.
Okay.
And we seem to go to a really pleasant place, somewhere we're accepted, loved, where we fit in, we're reunited with family, friends, even pets sometimes appear.
Dogs and cats in the afterlife.
Oh.
I like that.
In a beautiful world, no longer separated from God, we keep our personalities apparently, but the burdens, they get left behind.
What could possibly be better than that? Well, maybe, as the source jokes, some rock music to go with it.
Huh, maybe. But if we tie all this together, the scriptures, the mystics, the NDEs, all these different glimpses seem to point towards a central idea, don't they?
Okay, so let's synthesize. What does this all mean for us right here, right now?
It seems the common thread across everything is that this earthly life, it's for our transformation.
Transformation through.
Through being loved and then learning to love others in return. That seems to be the core mechanism, and it leads ultimately to a place without pain.
So it loops back to the beginning. It's less about what you know and much more about what you do.
Precisely. Get on with being transformed. Get on with loving others.
Right. So thinking about that, where are those hidden chances, maybe just today, for you, the listener, to offer one small act of kindness? A kind word, maybe helping someone out, even just a genuine smile or a hug for someone who's struggling. The source reminds us that act makes their day better, and it makes your day better too.
Then taking that a step further, what's your potential? How can you be more discerning about what really helps you grow, what truly transforms you spiritually?
Let's sing the boundaries a bit.
Yeah, pushing the limits of what you know, what you believe, how you behave, really striving for that deeper connection, that transformation.
That's a powerful thought to end on. How can your actions today start reflecting that love, that transformation that seems to be the whole point, according to these amazing glimpses beyond the veil?